Yeah, if you can help me with the pin. Oops. Very good. Well, good morning, everyone. So excited to be here with all of you on a Tuesday morning. We're so excited for today. We're going to be having a workshop and hearing from experts that have over a decade of experience in the film industry talk about how to do work with the film. And obviously, it's a very prominent industry in the state of New Mexico. We're so excited the strike is over and there's so many opportunities in New Mexico. So welcome, everyone. My name is Gabriela Marquez. I'm the Center Director with the New Mexico Minority Business Development Agency. We are funded by the U.S. Department of Commerce and operated by the City of Albuquerque Economic Development Department. And we support small businesses in the state of New Mexico, connecting them with access to capital, access to contracts, access to new markets, and lots of technical assistance and capacity building engagements. So we're so happy to have you here. This is a part of many, many webinars that we're having throughout the spring of 2024. So feel free to go to our website. It's on the right or the left, nmmBDA.com. There's a calendars page, and there's so many webinars, including later this week, we're going to have one on social media, bookkeeping, HR, many, many topics that might be relevant to businesses that are attending today. So now I will pass it over to Cindy McCrossan. She is the film liaison for the City of Albuquerque for the film office, and she'll share a little bit about the work that they do in the city.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for your interest in working with the film industry. The film industry depends on infrastructure, which includes you as vendors that are ready to support the industry. Our office is involved with primarily permitting for our location teams and outreach to the community and the industry and our education partners. And there are so many opportunities for independent contractors to work with the industry. And it's important that all this money that's coming into our state stays in our state with New Mexico vendors, crew members, et cetera. And I know there might be a lot of, I don't know what all of your industries are, but we'll be able to talk a bit about some particular industries that are vendors that work well with the industry. I myself have over a decade of experience working in the locations department, which is very important as far as interacting with the community on a lot of levels and also hire a lot of vendors. But there's so many other departments too, construction departments that purchase lumber, travel departments that book hotel rooms, so many other aspects. And I'm happy to share my contact information in the chat if we have that set up. I'm looking to see. We also maintain, I'm here with my partner, Rebecca Cavalier, who works with me in the film office. And we have on abqfilmoffice.com, we have a resource section, and we list individual businesses that have completed a tax and revenue form with the state of New Mexico to be a film ready vendor. So it basically means that you have a CRS-1 number, you file taxes in the state of New Mexico, and you are rebatable under the New Mexico Film Rebate Program. So that's sort of an important first step that you can find at abqfilmoffice.com under resources. And you can kind of browse through there too and see we supply information to productions, everything from babysitters to dog walkers to snake wranglers, which I bet you didn't think was a vendor opportunity, but anybody who wants to wrangle snakes, that's something we look for. Restaurants, gift baskets, other studio space, rental space, warehouse space. It will kind of give you an overview of who interacts with the film industry, and we want you to be able to have those opportunities as business owners. Anyhow, abqfilmoffice.com. And I'd like to introduce a fellow that I've worked with for many years in my capacity as assistant location manager and location scout, Dennis Mascari. Dennis has been a location manager for over a decade. I won't age him right now by calling that out,
It's
but
just a number.
it's just a number, right? And Dennis can speak a little bit to the variety of vendors that a production might hire that's outside of the regular staff of a film production. And then I'll let Dennis hand the baton over to Joseph Schimmel, who also has partnered with the film industry and has been working for over a decade providing security. And he's sort of seen the ups and downs of the industry and the ins and the outs, and it's not for everybody. We're sort of nuts, in the film industry. We work long days. We turn things around super quick. Our office has a mandate to process permits in under 72 hours. And we pretty much get it done, right, Dennis? And there's not many agencies in the city that could turn a permit around in 72 hours if you've ever had any experience working with bureaucrats. But it's important because our market, New Mexico, we're the busiest film market in the country currently. We have more productions filming now in Albuquerque than most any other town in the country. And we do a lot of television series, which means a production has to produce an hour of television in sometimes 7 to 9 days. And in that 7 to 9 days, they're spending, anywhere from $1 million to $10 million. And a lot of that is on vendors and partners, that money being spent. But there's a lot of things that affect our schedule, and it's not all whimsical. It's sometimes it's weather, sometimes it's an actor who's gotten sick and suddenly everything has to change on a dime. And time is money. We all know that. And anyhow, it's exciting. It's fast moving, and I hope that you all explore your opportunities with the film industry. And here we go, Dennis.
Thanks, Cindy. Yeah, I've been a location manager, as she said, for quite some time, and we rely on a lot of vendors for a lot of needs. And every production's needs are going to be a bit different. To kind of start off, I would say, like, what does it mean to work with a film company? There are just some points there that I look to when reaching out to vendors like Joe. It's availability. How fast can you react? And do you say what you're going to do, deliver on what you say, and be able to deal with short-term time frames. So with the availability, it's sometimes I get a phone, I'll call Joe and it'll be 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and something just changed on me. And I said, I need a guard, or we need to get some flaggers out there at 6 a.m. the next day, or whatever. Something changed in our schedule. We're trying to either make it safe for the crew or do whatever. Joe being able to react and respond to that in a timely fashion and deliver on it is awesome. And film people like myself, Joe does that for me. I'm referring that to the next location guy because he came through in a pinch on me. A lot of times being a vendor for the film business is sometimes bailing them out of a situation, coming through when you've got a clogged toilet and you call that 24-hour emergency, but it's like, hey, I need you now. I've got 30 people here in a backed up toilet and stuff like that going on. It's that immediacy is key. The short-term time frames, sometimes they just need equipment, or they need your space for a day, a couple hours, or anything like that. So being flexible with them, I know sometimes it's hard because maybe you don't have equipment available for such a time frame, or a price sheet. Like, I don't know what it would be for a day or a half a day, or so trying maybe working with them in that basis to kind of establish that. If you just come through with what you say, they're going to come back to you. Nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. And I think one of the finer touches on a company is really how say something is wrong, like on a traffic setup, or say you just forgot, or your guys may be an hour late. It's how do you respond to that situation with them? And that reaction time is very key. Some of the vendors that we do look for, it can be anything. We are always looking for food, stuff for props. I mean, but sometimes we'll go around and like we were filming at the Journal, and the set decorator department came to me and they said, can we rent their furniture? Sometimes they just want to rent your furniture for the shot. They like your chairs. Cleaning services, power, trash. One big thing is green services. A lot of producers in the film industry tries to be green. A lot of these people come with the mindset of wanting to try and recycle, wanting to try to have alternative power, wanting to compost. So if you're any of those fields, that's, expansion on that would be great and marketable. Rental space, sometimes they need space just for storing equipment and all the knickknacks, cars and wardrobe spaces. Sometimes those are being able to handle, again, like that short-term lease that I was talking about. A film will come in and they say, hey, I want to rent your spot, but we're only here for 6 months. And I know in sometimes commercial areas like real estate, other things like that, that's not really an ideal time frame. So you might be able to work with them and charge them maybe a little bit more per month, what you would do on a normal rental, to kind of help offset some of that time. But I will tell you, working with them, they're fully insured. If you have equipment and stuff, most of the time they'll be able to replace it. And they're very good about that. At least I try to be. I haven't really heard too many people complain about not being able to get their equipment back, or at least compensated for the loss of their equipment. Yeah, I mean, it's you never know what you're gonna get. We ask for everything. We throw curveballs all the time, and it's just being able to catch those, or how you're able to handle them. We're always looking for a database to keep adding to. Albuquerque's great. There are a lot of resources, but as film has been growing, sometimes we're all trying to use the same resource. So if you're a new business that hasn't tried it, a little competition never hurt and can only help. The more people we get involved in servicing the people, the more they're gonna tell that to their next producers or other people when they go back to the studio. And say, I had a great experience. There's a lot of vendors out there that can help support us and our needs. That's one of the things the film company likes, is making sure that their needs are being met. And so it's a very much a word of mouth type of business. So you don't, you can maybe advertise or kind of go towards some of these film festivals and put your name out there that way, but really getting the ear of some of the people on the ground, like the production office coordinators, myself, like a location manager. We really do interact a lot with the public, or working with Cindy and getting on the list. Even the state film office does also have a database of vendors around, just so this way, the more your name is in these areas where the producers and people will look, and they'll help spread that word for you if they have a great experience with you. And the other benefit of being a local business is that you are rebatable, and so that does help bring attention to you. Being able to say you're a local company here is attractive for the film company due to the incentives. Yeah, I would love to. People had questions. I feel like that's kind of the best synopsis that I could give as far as what to expect. We're a circus. We're unpredictable, and if you can ride that roller coaster with us, we'll take you along for a fun ride.
We have a lot of those circus analogies. I always say, the circus is coming to town, but we are very well-behaved monkeys. And film workers are the original bit workers. It's job to job to job. And you're really only as good as your last job, and what people remember you having done. I did throw up, Rebecca threw up our resource page on the Albuquerque Film Office, and also that tax and rev form that you would need to complete. Yeah, Joseph, maybe you can tell us a little bit about why, I mean, did you have your head examined before you decided to work with the film industry, or is it lucrative, or, you know, what is it that keeps you coming back for more punishment from the film industry?
I think you're muted, Joseph. If you want to try again.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I love your guys' circus. I wouldn't change it for anything. I started Schimel Security in 2013, in August of 2013. So we're about going on year 11 right now. When I first started, I realized quickly that it is word of mouth. It is really hard to get your foot in the get your foot in the door, and you have to be persistent in order to get your foot in the door. Um, and when you do finally get an opportunity, jump on it no matter what it takes. Just whatever they ask, do what you say you're gonna do. Don't if you can't do it, just say you can't do it. It's okay. And just learn how to do it for next time, because then people will still trust you. Um, we've Schimel Security's done everything from Yellowstone to Netflix to Stranger Things to we did Midnight Texas with Miss McCrossin. Um, I we did have a lot of struggles. Like, as a business owner, you do need to know that the movies are real feast and famine. Like, you have really great days, and like the really great days, they do when the movie's over, it's over, and you need to be prepared for that. So if you have employees and they're on a salary, you need to make sure that you're saving for that. A lot of people don't talk about things like that, but you do, because if not, when you start building up your key staff, you'll lose them in between the shows. Now we're doing pretty okay because we have so many shows here, but you do need to make sure you have your finances together, that you have your next contracts lined up. Because it is a roller coaster. When you're going down, it's fast, but you do have to go up the next hill to make it go down the next one. Um, I learned that we have different issues with insurance policies too. So with the different companies that you work for, they have different limits and liabilities. So you're going to need to get an insurance agent that you trust. And sometimes Dennis is right. I got a call a couple days ago from an NBC show, and I had to get an insurance policy at 9 o'clock at night because they're starting the next day. And you need to make sure that your insurance guy can do that, because we did it and it happened, and we're working on the show. So, um, the there is no better company to work for than the movies, though. I absolutely love it. My family loves it. When I pull into a base camp, I know that it's home. When I see Dennis, and Dennis has like a huge network of people that work for him. And when you're working, you need to learn. It's real important that you learn who you're working for, whether it's a UPM, location, set, and then you realize who works for them, because you're not necessarily trying to impress the top person. You're just trying to work for the people that you're working with directly, and then it's like a telephone, and it'll go up the chain of command. So when I talk to Dennis's PAs and I'm there making sure his PA's okay, they'll talk to their ALMs, he'll talk to their location managers or supervising location managers or whatever they have on the show. But I absolutely love it. I feel that we are a tight knit, like almost a family, and you need to be able to ready commit 100%. And if you're not, I don't think you should do it, because it's going to take everything that you have, and if you're not ready, it's not for you. But those that it is, welcome. And whatever you guys need from me, reach out. I will absolutely help you, even if I'm competing with you, because Dennis is right, competition is good. And sometimes you get very complacent, and you need to keep building and keep growing forward and keep moving forward. But thank you.
That's amazing, Joseph. And Joe spoke to a lot of things that, you know, not everybody's going to be like a full-time with the industry. And I think Joseph's company as well has been able to be a little flexible. We just came off of a huge labor strike that, and of course, pandemic slowed us down as well. But Joseph's company was able to pivot, you know, to other industries that needed his full-time employees. So he was able to keep his business, keep his people fed and during the slim times. There's a lot of opportunities also for just one-off services and the structural engineers, what different kinds of electricians that we need that our electricians can't touch certain parts of a location, and we need to call an electrical company that can come out on the spot and disconnect a street light or something like that, security lighting or something like that. A lot of our film vendors are folks who worked in a different aspect in the industry, and they discovered sort of a side hustle, something that they were very perceptive about what the industry might need, and they saw the gaps and were able to fill those gaps. Dennis and I have an old friend who just started making portable makeup mirrors, and he saw that we couldn't find them locally, and people were shipping them out from California, and he's like, I can make that. And our friend Justin Williams, who has a business that feeds his family, and it's just something that he saw a need for. So many side hustles that can be done in addition to a job that you might need. I saw Mr. Decker put up the geological the surveying work that they do. Sometimes it's just, you have to imagine, what could come up. We have, an actor that needs to climb up a cliff. Like, how strong is that? Can that hold the weight of the ropes or whatever it is? And we might need to call an expert, who can give us feedback about the safety of a particular location. So many different side hustles. And I don't know if we're ready to open up to questions. It's so different, for each one of your businesses. And so we're happy to give feedback if that seems like a good time to start that, Gabby.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I know that there was a question, and I think Rebecca already posted the platform, so everyone has access to that. I did have a question for both Dennis, I guess, and Joseph, but maybe Dennis. So other than adding the names of the business to all of the vendor lists with the city and the state, what would be the best way to actually, have like a first contact? Because maybe your business has been on these lists for a long time, but no one has contacted you. So what would you recommend at that point?
Well, I would recommend getting in touch with Cindy and Rebecca a bit at that point, because they're going to be one of the first people that film companies do go to. And so I know that they would say, hey, we just got a new company. Like, if there is somebody out there offering who knows what services, concierge service, floral service, delivery service, whatever it might be. I've gotten emails from them before about space like that. And they help kind of spread that word. If you do happen to see you can also go to the IATSE 480 website, which is the local union website. There's a list of crew members available. So if you're an electrician, maybe you want to reach out to a locations person, an electric person, a production office coordinator. The reasons being for those is they all have different needs. A production office coordinator might need to just install some power to put washer and dryers into a space that they're leasing. The locations guy might need to fix the power at a house that they ruined a plug there. They need to go into an electrical box. We all have different needs. Sometimes like I said, the props people, they might just need to rent a bunch of electrical equipment to decorate a set with and bring that back to you. So all of those things, we all have needs for things, and it's never at the same time. So I would just say those reaching out directly to some of those people on those lists might be the best way to get their attention. If you have a website, I know I put my email on the little chat. If you want to shoot me your company information, contact information. I'm happy to try to direct you to some of those people that might be needing those services. And just send me what information you've got. What is it you've got to offer, and we can help get you in.
That's exactly how I got into the business. I was reaching out and with no luck, so I went on to Film NM or nmfilm.com, and they have a directory of everybody, and then you could subcategorize it for wherever you're looking for. I went to locations, and then they have a loose list of like phone numbers and emails, and I emailed every single one of them individually, and then it's not gonna you need to make it happen. It's like there's no luck involved. It's you putting in the footwork that's gonna make it happen. So what you do is what I did was I think I got like maybe back 2 or 3 emails out of like 40. So I went in and I called every person, and I just kept calling, and then finally I got an opportunity.
And Joe did, even with me, he kept calling me and bugging me when he first started. And then we finally gave him a shot. And, I haven't looked back since,
We've
And
been
now I
working.
want to give Joe a run for his money. So, no, I'm just kidding.
It's amazing. No, thank you so much for sharing that on both ends. I think that's helpful for businesses on the call to, like you have to put a lot of work into it. But then when you finally make that connection and you're reliable, you're available, you're ready for all the changes, you're ready to get insurances overnight, then it can be a very lucrative, and long-standing relationship. So for Joseph, he was just sharing over 10 years. So that's really fabulous.
I can say, the one thing that film companies hate is that saying that, and a lot of New Mexicans know it, it's like that land of mañana attitude. That does not work in film. We want the people that respond, within minutes, 911 is too slow for us. That just is like a thing. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. That's a really great reminder.
I would say it's not ever okay to approach a film company that's working on the street to go up and ask, how I want to be a background actor. Where's the casting director? Because they're very focused and they're they have a job to do, and it could be a safety hazard for you to approach a film company directly when you see them, live and in action. I mean, just stand back and watch and, see what's going on. But it's never okay to walk into a base camp and try to hunt down the transportation coordinator for a job. It's sort of like, big no-no. They'll probably, put an X over your name if that happens. One of the directors that Joe was mentioning was on the New Mexico State Film Office, and they have a resources industry directory. I think that's I think I gave the right link there. But if you're a seamstress and you want to reach out to a wardrobe department head, that's listed there. You look for costumers. There's a lot of side branches of every department. Wardrobe department might need somebody who just specializes in aging and drying and making clothing look old, because you can't just buy something off the rack and put it on a movie set. And so it sort of also involves sort of watching movies and thinking like, how did they do that? And they probably could have used my services for that. And then finding out what department heads you could send your resume to. And so that's a great resource as well, is that New Mexico Film Office resource crew directory to find the medics, if you have a specialty medical equipment that might be helpful, or, the costumer, like I said, or the hairstylist, or the financial end of it. If you're a banker, indie films is a whole nother thing, that needs support kind of in a different way. Financing and other resources sort of on a smaller scale. So that's kind of a good entree as well, is to find those independent productions, those short films that might be someone you can contact at film meet and greet nights. I see Tom Reagan's on the call, and they have amazing sort of social events where they have different businesses that talk about how to interact in the industry. And that's at, I'll let Tom, maybe you could mention West and sort of your work that you've done with New Mexico Film Foundation, because that's also kind of like a person-to-person networking to find out what people, and if you get experience on a small film, that's going to build your resume and make a larger film, a studio production, more confident to hire you. But yeah, Tom, maybe mention kind of the outreach you guys have.
Yeah, so thank you, Cindy. My name's Tom Reagan. I run the studio at West. West is a nonprofit organization that helps small businesses start and grow their business here in New Mexico. And the studio is a 1,000 square foot green screen cyclorama soundstage in the West Enterprise Center. So the networking event that Cindy was mentioning was called the Albuquerque Film Crawl. It's been a networking event that we've partnered with the New Mexico Film Foundation to just bring film vendors together, network, meet each other, and then also we go on the Albuquerque Trolley company to take us around to different film vendor locations as well. So like Keslo Camera has been one that we've gone to a number of times, the CNN Prop House. So we just go to different spaces that provide services for filmmakers. So it's a great event. I put my email in the chat. Feel free to reach out to me and I can connect you with some of those resources when they come up. I think our next one is planned for May, which will be again, we'll do networking here and then do a little tour around town for a number of different film vendor locations like that. So yeah. Thank you, Cindy.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tom. And yeah, it's kind of cool. They'll bring a grip truck, so all the widgets and whoozits and whatever, lighting and electrical needs, and you can really see kind of the equipment that's used. I mean, all different kinds of vendors have been at those events, so that's those sort of social networking opportunities are a great place to hand out your card to filmmakers, and people are looking for resources. Like they want to connect with you as well. And it's a little hard to lift that veil sometimes. But is there anyone who might have questions that wants to raise their hand? Well, maybe some folks could mention
Cindy,
different
I
kinds of
see-
businesses. You see a hand?
Yeah, Narissa Winnington has her hand up, so go ahead. Mhm.
Hi there, Narissa Whittington. How are you all? Thanks for this. I appreciate it. We are a technology campus and data center in downtown Albuquerque, and there's been lots of conversations about post and people who would maybe do post. And I was wondering if the film, and I actually just sent you, Cindy and Rebecca, an email. I was wondering if there is any push for post, or if there's anything that the community can do to increase the thoughts of and or incentives for post in New Mexico.
And Narissa's talking about, so post-production is everything that happens after the physical filming. And sometimes that's a daily basis. So filmmakers need to review the footage from the day to make sure they got all their shots, color balancing. There's also editing, then the sound tracking. All of that is considered post. And Narissa, it is incentivized on a state level. So the state does incentivize post-production businesses similarly to how they do other New Mexico vendors. So it starts at a 25% rate for if they use post-production facilities in New Mexico. And so it's great to know about your facility, and we'll definitely have to connect. So it's the need for data, high-speed data transfer is really important. It's been a bit of a challenge and a tough nut to crack because an editor, people build teams and they build relationships like Dennis had mentioned. And so a producer, a director, whoever is going to come to New Mexico, shoot this great footage, and they have their editor back home that they've worked on, many projects, and he just happens to live in the Redwood Forest. He doesn't have to be anywhere special. He doesn't have to be in New Mexico. So it's a little, even though it's incentivized, it's a little tough to get people here. But I think sort of what Joe and Dennis addressed with competition is important. The more availability of those post-production facilities in New Mexico and options that people have to choose from. And also, we have people coming in, with those relationships who are setting up brick and mortar, and they would absolutely be interested in your storage facility and your data transfer capacity, and whatever you might be able to offer. So great to know that you're there.
And I think that's sort of the hard connection. Most of the sites are sort of built for looking for people during filming. It's looking for the post in that community doesn't exist as strongly. We are the home to Crafty Apes, which is a great VFX firm. But trying to figure out, how would we attract more Crafty Apes? It's kind of difficult. So I guess.
If I could say one thing to that, I would say, and it kind of also relates to any of the businesses as well. The film business is one of those that saying, if you build it, they will come, type of thing. A lot of it is you have to have it ready to go. They're not going to wait for it when they're not going to wait for you to develop it because when they're asking, they need it. And that's the hard part, is because especially in post, it's you're gonna have to set it up and then wait for them to shoot and then decide if they want to be there. And a lot of the times, as Cindy mentioned, the producers in the post world, sometimes even the major studios, they already have their post bays back in LA, and they're already rented out or whatever those contract is. So post is definitely something that's more difficult to get into. And I know that there are people that like New Mexico. I know a lot of editors that have moved to or looking to move to New Mexico, and this work from home thing is becoming more and more a thing for certain jobs in film. We're definitely getting back to the office, but editing is one of those where if you got a good internet connection, you might be able to do that more remotely. And it's a hard one to come, but yeah, if it doesn't currently exist, it's even harder to get into. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense, and I appreciate that. That was we definitely had that a missed opportunity. We were upgrading our network and didn't have the 10 gig available. We now do, but sending dailies, obviously a lot of that is getting straight out of town, unfortunately, and a lot of the work from home is definitely changing sort of that production office feel as well. But I did email you as well, Dennis, just about our facility. So happy to connect with anyone needing temporary space and whatnot, but always hoping to have more of those tech jobs in New Mexico.
That's awesome, Narissa. And Rebecca and I often will sort of accumulate particular industries and target emails directly to incoming productions so that they know, sometimes it's a relief for them to know that they can actually accomplish some of this work here. And I think Tom's experienced that with some of this sound studio build out that West is hoping to do. Suddenly people find that there's an opportunity there with a triple tone, for instance, and they're like, oh, thank goodness, we don't have to fly the talent to where the whatever it is to match the sound. And so thanks for the heads up, Narissa, and it'll help our office also to promote particular industries directly to the film industry, and sort of through email blasts and direct promotions. So happy to also do shout outs on social media to businesses that have had success stories working with the industry. We're not allowed to single out one particular person at a time. So we usually sort of do it as a group, or sort of highlighting a profile of a business. And Seth, yeah, maybe you can jump in.
And then right before Seth mentions, there's a question, how can we connect with Joseph? So Joseph, if you can put your information in the chat, you might get some calls and emails soon. Go ahead, Seth.
Can you hear me? Oh, hi everyone. Okay, so We have a business, we have a farm or several farms throughout New Mexico, and we're interested in possibly providing parking for film sets or film crews, and we just wanted to know what's required for that or who to talk to, just anything about that as far as just using like our land for parking.
Sorry, looking for my mute button.
Yes. Oh, I'm
Dennis
sorry,
looks
me
like-
too. Yeah, I was
yeah.
gonna say, just shoot me an email and I'll follow up with you and we can go over what all you've got.
You're on the perfect call, Seth.
Okay, all right,
yeah,
perfect.
space is a commodity here. But Seth, it's also good to when you reach out to Dennis and our office as well, to have a pin drop, so that we can find you on Google Maps and understand that it's heavy equipment. So if you've planted alfalfa, it's probably you don't want our heavy trucks on your alfalfa field. But if it's just open space that's maybe just been brush cleared, and it's in the vicinity of one of our movie ranches or downtown Belen or wherever you happen to be, pin drop is helpful. And we can also do an email blast to our location managers who might be looking for that parking space. And yeah, it's good. It's a good little ka-ching, ka-ching when those checks come for empty dirt. You're like, wow, I monetized my, empty space. So always looking for that.
Awesome. And I see lots of businesses putting their information in the chat. So feel free to also reach out to Rebecca and Cindy for the film office so they can add their information on their vendor list on their website. And then, of course, messaging Dennis as well. Is there any additional questions or any other comments?
Hey, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for having me, Miss McCrossan. And I just want to let you guys know, in a beach full of sand, she's a diamond. So she'll help you out in any way possible.
Ah, you're so poetic.
We've been through a lot.
It's true, and it really does become a family. And, I did want to say to Seth as well that, locations are also something that's, really helpful for us to know about new places. And if anybody, has property, I saw warehouse space pop up from Edit House. If you have, photos that you can show that aren't just of the front door, sort of show the space in context and a floor plan, or, Mr. Wagner, think also of photo opportunities. If you guys have chili fields, I mean, we just shot Flamin' Hot out here and we needed grape vines, so sometimes even agricultural land or something you wouldn't think of as a filming location is also something that's in need. And access is key. And we travel when a show travels around, it's usually about 2 acres of heavy equipment and personal vehicles that follow with it. So all that stuff's really helpful too. Yeah, so just really happy to connect with everybody. If there's a business that we didn't address, sort of your particular needs, or how you'd like to connect, please reach out directly to all of us, myself, Rebecca, Dennis, and Joseph, and we'll find ways to connect you, because we want you to be involved. We want to get this movie money to stay behind in New Mexico and build jobs and build the local economy. And it's all that trickle down that really makes all this hard effort at attracting film industry helpful to the state at large. So anyhow, really appreciate everybody taking the time to learn more about our industry.
All right, good. Well, if there's no additional questions, we're so grateful for everyone's time. Thank you so much, Dennis and Joseph, for joining us today and sharing all your insights and decades of knowledge of the film industry here in the state of New Mexico. So thank you, everyone. We'll have it recorded and we'll send out contact information for everyone. Have a great Tuesday. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
hosting.
Thanks, Cindy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks, Joe.